This is an introduction into using the Pro Suite, specifically the benefits and features around the supplementary details in populating a document, in the creation of a document. Having watched the previous video showing you how to register for first-time users, I'm going to log straight in on the basis that I have previously registered. To do so, we can click Pro Suite. We can just click Pro Suite Login over there. I'm going to click Pro Suite. Create has been done, so I don't need to do that. We're going to say Pro Suite Login. We're going to feed in your email address and password that you have been created. If you are registering for the first time, it will take you automatically into the system. Enter Pro Suite. This is just if you do have multiple companies, so most of you won't have to go through that selection. And continue, and we're at a page now where we will see the projects that we have previously created. If you're a first-time user, you won't see any projects. And we are going to add a new project, and then we're going to use the supplementary details to populate so that those details automatically feed into the document at the time of creation. So you will see on the left-hand pane will be the projects that have been created, and on the right-hand side will be the documents that have been created within each of those projects. So if we're clicking on a particular project, those will be the projects that have been created, or sorry, the documents that have been created within a particular project. We are going to create now a new project. So we're going to say Add New Project. Click OK. And we now need to give it the project name and a file code. It's not critical at this stage whether the name of the project changes somewhat. It will be the name that is being created in the cloud as the folder for your documents to be stored, but we will have an opportunity at time of creation of a document to change the project name, specifically if we want to, if there's spelling mistakes or it's a PTY or a CC, we can do so at that point. So it's really setting the folder where these documents are going to be stored at this point. So we can just call it a test. We can just say it's a test edition 6.2 for video, doesn't matter really. And we can give it a code, and we can change this code also at any stage down the line. And what we're going to do is go straight into save and add project supplementary details. Success, it has been created, and it's going to take us straight now to the supplementary details associated to this project. There is the project name, there are the supplementary details. If you were a returning user, you would land directly in this page, and I'm just showing you how you would access this particular project. If you were logging in at a later point, you would see your project there. You can search by date, so maybe search it so your most latest projects are at the top, and you would click on the actual project, and you'll notice that we don't have any documents. So what we want to do now is go to the supplementary details. We want to update the details associated to this project because we haven't done that as yet. And that is going to take us back to where we were previously landed up. So I'm going to say update project details, and that takes us back to the screen where we see the supplementary details associated to this project. So we'll literally just move left to right and populate the details associated to this project. So we're going to just call it test project. And what is important to note is if it's a PROCSA document, we only need to really worry where we have the purple P. So we have a legend here telling us the different J is a JBC, P is a PROCSA. We only really need to worry about where there are P's, because in some cases fields are not used in that particular document. So we need to focus around where there's a P, that will be the project street address. So it wants a street address, it wants applicable law, and it wants an earth number. So we'll type in an earth number, doesn't really matter, and we'll say save project details. Success, and those details are now stored. Then we'll move into the client, employer, and populate all these details associated. You'll see there is the purple piece, that means it needs all of these details. If it's a new company that hasn't been set up, we're forced to obviously type it all in. And if it has been a client that we have used previously, you can use this plus button. Benefit being it will call up this client from a drop down. We'll select the client, say save, and it will bring in those details. So that's the benefit, that once the client is in the system, we don't need to keep populating, and obviously that principle will apply to when it comes to the consultants as well. Once we're happy, if you want to make any changes, maybe there's some details that have changed, you can make your change, save client, and that is now saved. We then move on to project consultant details. All the different consultants are listed. What is important for PROCSA is they are mandatory irrespective of which consultant. For example, it wants a client representative, it wants a principal consultant and a principal agent, and then whichever details of the consultant applicable to that specific document as well. So we must feed in these three. So I'm going to, in this case, they're all clients or details that have been previously. So I'm just going to click on the plus associated. So client's representative, I just go to and select and say save. So that will bring in all the details. If I want to just view and just make sure, I can say add consultant details, and there they all are saved. So if I need to edit, I can do so. So okay, I'm going to do the same for principal consultant. And what is interesting is you can take details across disciplines. So if you want to use a principal consultant that was previously a principal agent, you're free to do that. So you're not tied. You can pick across these different disciplines. So I'm looking for principal consultant. Scroll down, find it, principal consultant, there it is, and we say save, okay, and then we need to do our principal agent. You'll notice that it's also yellow for JBCC, principal agent, PA, save, and we can go and view those details by just clicking on the button alongside. Now, assuming we're producing or preparing a quantity surveyor document, I'm going to just use an example as assuming that it's a new consultant that hasn't been previously used before. So I'm going to say add consultant details in this case, and we will populate. Now, one of the features we have here is if you don't want to physically feed in all this information, or if you don't have access to this information, what you can do is feed in the email address of that consultant. I suggest you give it a name. I don't think you have to. And what you can do then is say save. Okay. And then what becomes available for you to click on is send update details invitation. What that means is you can now send an email to that email address that we fed in. That recipient will receive an email saying you have requested for them to populate their details for the system, and as they do so, those details will be updated into the system online for your use. So you can bypass that and feed it on to the consultant. So I'm going to do that in this case. You're about to send an invitation to update their details. Click OK. They will now receive an email, and you can just give them a little test message. Hi, please populate as a matter of urgency for your appointment on whatever it may be. Done editing, and we say done editing, and we just say send email. So that will come from me. It's in the form of a little letter, email to that person, and click OK, and that email will be sent. Alternatively, if you don't want to wait and do that, you want to do it yourself, click on add and populate the details yourself. Move on to the next tabs. So principal contractor, we don't need. If you're not sure, you'll notice there's no P, doesn't apply in a PROCSA. Subcontractor, no P, not applicable. Arbitrator details, yes, there is a P, it requires information. I'm just going to select previously selected, arbitrator, save. Click OK. Mediator, it's got a P, click on plus, select the mediator and save. Same principle in terms of inviting. We are now ready to create the document for this quantity surveyor. So we click on the button create document for this project, and we then select the consultant that we are, so in this case it would be quantity surveyor. So let's select quantity surveyor. Click create new document. It then now gives you the opportunity to change the name of the project or to edit it. Make sure the client is correct. Make sure the consultant name is correct. So let's just say maybe that needs to be PTY Ltd. Make sure your reference is correct. Maybe I'm just going to say /QS, and I'm just going to, maybe that was also not right. We can still change that at this point in time. And we're not going to copy documents this stage. All we're going to do is create. We're ready now to create. Now you're going to see that I need 675 credits. I only have 326. For a first-time user, you will have 0. So we're going to have to purchase additional credits, and it's telling me that the insufficient balance that I need is this 349 credits. 1 rand is 1 credit, so we are going to have to now go up and top up our credits to enable this transaction. If they were sufficient, it would have been a successful transaction at that point in time. So obviously, if you've got sufficient credits, it streamlines that process. You don't have to go through a purchasing exercise each and every time. Click here to purchase, and it's going to take you into the gateway for purchasing your 349 credits. You'll click on card, or you can do an EFT. Click on card, and I'm not going to go through and feed in all the details, but you'll populate a card number, the name, an expiry date, and you'll say pay. It will ask you for a PIN if your card is, make sure your card is 3D secure, and you will feed in your PIN on your mobile number, and it will automatically update then your credits so that you have sufficient. I'm going to cancel this process because I'm going to just go through the back end. I'm not going to physically pay the 349, so I'm just going to say cancel and process outstanding. So it's obviously an unsuccessful payment. I'm just going to go back to PROCSA and back to, so you'll notice that obviously my purchase has obviously been unsuccessful. In the back end, I have just topped up some credits, so I've made some credits available. I'm going to go through this process again and just create the document, select quantity surveyor, create, just do what I did previously, PTY Ltd, QS consultant, let's just say that's all fine, and we said /QS, doesn't matter, and we're then going to say, you'll see now I have sufficient credits. So I now say purchase document, and we can either get that document emailed to ourselves, which will arrive as a PDF where we can populate it offline, or We can still populate offline and save back into the cloud, or if you say view and edit online, success, it's going to take us to there is the document that has been created. And if we look at actions, we can view and edit, we can receive by email, we can download, we can compare revisions, we can set up collaborators, send to collaborators, we can do the electronic signature process, close the document, or hide the document. So if we don't want it visible, those are where we set it. Even quicker, we just click, that is hyperlinked, so we just click on the name over there, and that is effectively the same as view and edit. So I can just click on that and it's going to view and edit. It tells me the reference number, the client, the consultant, who created it, what edition, the date, when it was last saved. It's an open document and it's visible. So as this list gets longer, we can filter, we can set how many documents we want to view, we can hide, and only show the opens, or show only the visibles. So when there are many, this becomes useful, or if we want to search by an edition number. So I'm going to just click on Quantity Surveyor. I can say view and edit. If I'm going to edit, if I just want view only, the difference is view only is uneditable. It's locked and it takes out all the notes from the document. You'll see when we open this one, it's going to have red blocks with notes, user notes. Those will not be visible in the view only. So we're going to say view and edit, and we're going to say open, and that's that red block that I've been talking about. You won't see it once you print or in the view only. And then you literally populate the fields, whatever fields you want to populate. Whatever is blue is for population. And once you've populated, you click the save document online, and each revision of that document would then be saved within the online cloud, and you can compare these revisions at any stage. And I'm just going to show you, I'm going to scroll down to the fields, certainly all the client. If we go down, you will see there the client details have been populated into the system. I didn't populate the QS because remember he was still going to do that himself by email. But if we look at the client's representative and the principal consultant and all of the others that we populated have automatically been fed into the document. So that has saved us a lot of time and effort, especially once I'm going to be doing multiple documents across suites. So if I now wanted to create, let's say, the engineer, what I would probably do is complete this document in its entirety, make sure it's 100%, and then use the copy feature so that we copy, when we create the civil engineering as an example, we copy this document and all the fields will be copied into that new document. Things like all of these, who are all the other consultants, the applicable work would obviously change from consultant to consultant, but this would remain. All of these fields will generally be the same. Obviously the fee should be different. The apportionment may be different, but generally these fields should remain constant across your different disciplines. And your mediator and arbitrator details should remain consistent. Your amendments probably will remain. So if you've got 10 lines of information here, that would all be carried over and copied into your new document. When you are copying, you have the choice to copy terms and conditions, or services, or both. Now, if you are copying from a quantity surveyor to a civil engineer, it's unlikely that you're going to copy your services because they're completely different. But you could be copying from another project, the civil engineer from a previous project to this project. So you can copy across project, not necessarily within project. So you would have the choice to decide, is it terms and conditions only? Is it services, or both? And you would have that choice to decide depending on what you're copying and from where. And I think that then just summarizes and completes this video or tutorial on using the supplementary details as a basis to populate and create documents within the ProSuite.